let's get into this, especially more than anything. Road to ADCC. All right, July 17th coming up this Saturday, which is going to be awesome. We have an amazing card that's really set up. Like I would say, like FloGrappling and obviously ADCC went balls to the wall with this card. It looks fantastic. It did lose one match, obviously, with Lucas Barbosa versus Craig Jones, which is going to be the co-main event, which is going to to be awesome. Unfortunately, Craig Jones broke his hand during training, so he's going to be out. And that was Lucas Barbosa's coming off his win at the BJJ Stars event after he got
choked unconscious. He got choked unconscious,
which is a very controversial ending. So we can talk about that if you want. But we have our main event, and our main event is with Kaynan Durate. Who is it?
Kaynan Duarte and Matheus Diniz, who is the man who put Lucas Hulk Barbosa to sleep during that BJJ Stars match, where I believe he was taking a shot, got on top, got a crucifix, got the one-handed choke.
The one-handed claw choke. It was in there. He had it.
A la Marcelo Garcia, who's one of his coaches and training partners. So apparently the referee, I don't know if they're taking a siesta on the side of the mat, but if the time expired, Hulk was unconscious. Matheus let him go nicely, and the match was over, and Hulk won. So, Aaron, give me your thoughts. You had a very great comment about
I did
the next BJJ Fanatics release for Hulk.
I did because it was especially because when he got his back taken, his defense was to slam him on his back, and then it's like,
this got tighter. This didn't work.
He literally slammed himself into the mat, and then allowed the choke to get tighter, and then next thing he knows, he's out. And I'm like, I get it, like you're just scrambling and things happen, but that's why I said, because that's basically what it was. And like Gordon Ryan has basically said that's all he knows how to do is power his way out of things and to slam himself into the ground. So I just stated the obvious of what I saw. But I mean, it's kind of funny when you see that the referee was like almost a fan for a second, just watching this happen. And it's like, oh shit, the clock is gone. I mean, like if you watch the playback, the match ends. There's about a good 3 to 5 seconds where the choke is still applied before he actually goes out. But the fact that like Barbosa gets up, said, I wasn't out, and then taking his shirt off like he just got choked out. Like, come on, man. Like
taking his shirt off like he just won like the Mundials. It's like,
what? Like
you got put out.
You got put out, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like that's not anything to be like excited about. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
At the end of the day, like time expired. The choke shouldn't have even happened. But like to get up and celebrate like that, you just look like a jackass. I'm sorry. Like you like. It's like the equivalent of like, getting up and ripping off your gi when like you won by like your opponent, like getting a penalty for like doing something that they shouldn't have been doing. Like, it's like, dude, like this is probably the worst case of it. It's like you were legitimately choked out unconscious.
Yeah, it was like
after the match happened. Yeah. After the match happened, and then you get up and like rip off your shirt, scream and everything. It's like, what are you celebrating? You just got put unconscious. Okay, yes, you won. But like I would say, as the saying goes, Aaron, I think Hulk won the battle. I think Matheus won the war.
War, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting because I'm curious to see, especially how this main event goes now, especially with Kaynan and Matheus. So give me your thoughts. Obviously you have Matheus coming off that loss to Barbosa. He's probably going to be coming
quote unquote loss.
Quote unquote, air quote, right? He's been active. Now he might be looking at some of the things he made mistakes with. He's going against another Atos guy. This is going to be an opportunity for him to kind of like right the wrongs. I mean, like, how do you see this match going?
I think it's a very interesting match. Matheus winning 88 kilograms at ADCC. He's going to be a top contender in that division. You might even see him in the open weight, I think, this time next year in ADCC as well. And I think he'll be a a viable threat to even win that as well. Kaynan, on the other hand, same thing. Like, I think he's a viable threat to win the open class in the next ADCC as well. And this could be a preview of like a potential semifinal or final of, you know, the ADCC Absolute. I think this is a really great match. I might give a slight edge to Kaynan on this just because he's a lot bigger. I would say he's a little more technical and smoother than you know, Hulk slamming out of submissions. I would say maybe his one main weakness, Kaynan, is the leg lock game. I've seen him get submitted by, you know, Cyborg by a heel hook. He's been submitted by, you know, Kaynan by a heel hook. 2017 ACC, but like he was a kid at the time. You know, Lachlan Giles got him with a heel hook as well. So I don't know Matheus's like leg lock game. I don't know how strong it is, but that could be a hole to exploit potentially for him. I think Matheus may have a slight edge, maybe wrestling stand-up wise. It's a really interesting match. They're both pretty evenly matched. I might have to give a slight edge to Kaynan overall, just in size, youth, and just, you know, he's not as experienced, but at the same time, I think he's got a lot of things working for him on his side. Aaron, how do you see this going potentially?
You know what? I am gonna go with the fact that Matheus is gonna be out for blood, especially after that
revenge
loss, the revenge loss. If again, like I know you're kind of giving the slight edge to Kaynan. I'm gonna go and give the slight edge to Matheus just on the X factor, because he wants to get that win back. I don't want to. Again, I think this is a guy who doesn't want to really necessarily come off with 2 losses in a row. I think he's going to be training really hard. I think he's going to be really working.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how that leg lock game is going to go for him, but I think when he looks at, like, I don't think the size is going to be a big thing. I think he's going to be looking at it like, I'm going to try and do the things that I didn't do correctly in my last fight, and then I'm going to try and build off that.
I think it's going to be a really, really, really good match. You know, unfortunately, you know, Hulk and Craig Jones isn't happening, you know, just from what we discussed earlier with Craig Jones breaking his hand last week, unfortunately. So, yeah. So everybody's favorite second place winner is now out of.
He's out, yeah. But you know what? There's still a lot of really good names on that card. You got Nickey Ryan. He's going to be going up against Dante de Leon, which is going to be a great match. We also have Andrew Wiltse versus Roberto Jimenez. And who else we got? What's the other big barn burner that we were looking at?
The other big barn burner?
There was another one that we were really excited about.
There was.
Now the whole thing is now totally off the top of my head.
Oh, it's Freakazoid Giovanni Martinez versus Mikey Musumeci. That'll be really good.
Yeah, so those 3 matches coming up.
I think Mo he did an Instagram live. He said he's actually most excited for that match.
Yeah,
exactly. The Mikey one.
I'm like, it's like one more match that I'm like super excited to see. And I'm like, it's not coming to my mind.
What is it? Because I think Mikey's an X factor in Nogi, because he hasn't done a lot of Nogi comp. Like, he's won Nogi Worlds, but like he hasn't competed in this rule set a lot. He's done a couple who's number ones, but like this will be like a real legitimate test to see where he's at ADCC wise, because Gio's not a joke. He's a ADCC vet. He is, he's gonna have a little bit of a size advantage as well going into this. I think this will be a really, really entertaining match as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be possibly the match of the night. However, we also have, I think, Roberto versus Andrew. I think that's going to be possibly our fight of the night. Now that
I think so as well.
I think that's going to be constant movement. Both guys moving forward. I don't think we're going to get into these wrestling stand-up battles. Those guys are going to go for those. They're going to go for the sub. They're not 2 guys that are going to try and go for the points game. I think they're going to be
headbutt each other standing like.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good matchup.
Like one of the worst matches I think I've ever seen in my entire life, which is Wagner versus Josh Hinger. I specifically blame the Matt Burn podcast for that one. That was one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my entire life.